So I'm based in the UK, and my passion is to support people with ADHD worldwide. I'm also supporting practitioners to close the gap, because in our training, we didn't really learn about neurodiversity. And also most of the practitioners are thinking in a trauma-informed way, which would sometimes close out or misinterpret a neurodivergent signs. So I just want you all to bear that in mind, depending who you're working with and how you're working with. I'm really hoping that practitioners will catch up on this and closing the gap. But today, this is all about you. So not about practitioners. It's all about how are you living your life with ADHD, and what are you finding difficult. What we would like to talk about in this first session is your ADHD type. What type of ADHD do you have? And how do you find that? Then we will think about the attention styles. Then we talk a little bit about neurotransmitters and the nervous system, and then the ADHD challenges and beliefs. And straight away today, I would like you to take away a little bit of strategy, which you can already practice in this week, and then bring it back next week. So every single time you will have a little bit of homework, whether you do it or not, it's up to you. But I'm hoping you will decide to do it, so you are able to take this away and put it in practice in your everyday life. So it's quite different from my previous sessions, what I held for practitioners, and probably Mario has been on a couple of them, because this is really about hands-on breaking down to action steps. I want you to have a to-do list. I want you to be able to embed it in your life. Just a couple of ethical considerations. We have confidentiality, we have inclusion of differences, we trying to be in an adult ego state, here and the now, a logical sense. And I'm encouraging openness, but with consciousness of we don't know each other. So the group is small for a reason, to be able to be trusting and intimate with each other. I sort of know most of you, but not all of you. And make sure you check your assumptions as well. What are you assuming about the other? What's happening in you? If you have a therapist and something is being stirred today, take it to therapy or take it to your coach. We are not able to do any group processing today. I'm trying to be quite on the ball. But I might tell you a couple of anecdotes and share you a couple of stories, so it sort of builds in and it comes to life for you today. So the inattentive signs. I don't know, anyone has diagnosis, or you just thinking you have ADHD traits, just pop it in the chat box, and then we are able to see, and what type do you think you are? What are the signs? We just quickly run through them. So losing the thread when we are talking, I might be talking a lot today. Please let me know when you got bored so I can switch. Yeah, because I won't be able to read your minds. Forgetting details, I'm very much guilty of that. Difficulty of sustaining focus across long or complex sessions. I don't think it's just long and complex sessions. I can lose the focus within a 20 seconds small talk if I'm totally bored and I'm not interested about what the person says. So I think we have different kind of experiences. For me, small talk definitely doesn't work. I could live without it. And I find it quite torturous when we need to do it, but we need to do it in certain circumstances. Falling behind with notes, emails, or invoices, misjudging time and running late between clients or running late between tasks, struggling to organize workload, feeling mentally foggy, missing practical deadlines. And I made this a little bit work related. I didn't put the everyday challenges in there, and we can extend the list. Yeah, just simply not getting out on the door on time, forgetting other people's birthdays, not finishing things at home, around the house, lots of different things, not keeping organized in our wardrobe, not finding the pair of the socks, just lots of little things. Hyperactive and impulsive difficulties is taking too much, taking on too much and committing, not just clinically, but whatever you are working in your practice. In here, I brought the clinical ideas, but if you're working in a corporate business or you are a funder or you are a student, it will be all very similar to this. Interrupting and jumping ahead. I'm utterly guilty of that. It's very hard for me to listen to someone for 3 minutes without interrupting because I become excited and I have a thought and I must share it in that moment. Difficulty to slow down and reflect before responding, rushing the notes and the admin, struggling with pacing and endings, burnout from working at the sustainable, unsustainable intensity. Usually, the hyperactive, impulsive type of people's diary is absolutely full and bringing restlessness or urgency. Quite a few of them probably struggling with addiction. And that's just something we need to think about. What's happening for us. If I'm really stressed and if I'm really overwhelmed, I'm probably eating a lot of sugar. So for me, that definitely is a sign, all right, I need to step back and I need to relax. But the coin has another side. I'm working in this industry when everyone's supposed to be Zen. I'm not a Zen person. So quite often I'm being picked up on, I'm doing too much. I'm not sitting still. I'm talking too much. I'm interacting with too many people. And I should hold long paces and long silences while I'm working with others. And I need to tell people I can't do that. If I start a long silence, my mind fills up with lots of things. What should I cook for dinner? Where should I go next? Oh, what is about that task? I'm not sure if someone has inattentivity in them. Probably it's a familiar kind of experience. But because I'm a combined type, I have the inattentiveness as well as the hyperactivity and impulsivity. Both together, I'm really not good with long silences. I'm really not good with staying still. It's just not something for me. So when I'm working with someone who requires that, probably I need to suggest to work with someone else who can provide that space for them. Because with me, we're going with 100 miles per hour. And that's my pace, that's my speed. And I like to take people from one end to the other end to create a change, to create something new in their life. And I'm enjoying doing that. So I just quickly check in the chat box if I've got some responses. Inattentive. So it looks like probably you don't have as much hyperactivity as myself. And I can imagine sometimes the hyperactive people might be too much and quite overwhelming. So please, I apologize today and forgive me on this. But I definitely have an energy. I popped in here the autistic traits because quite often autism and ADHD goes well together. So just to recognize, I don't have any autism in me, but some of the clients who I'm working with and some family members have autistic traits as well, besides of the ADHD traits. And then just to recognize if some of them are familiar, it can be quite an interesting experience to feel like certain parts are pulling apart. Quite often the ADHD might be sitting on top of the autism. And then when the ADHD calms down and the autism comes up, so it's a difficult dilemma, and I'm experiencing this sort of sits with everyone in a very different way. So it's quite unique. It's quite personal how that sits in the brain. I believe the brain is like our fingerprint. Different parts of the brain are different size and different proportion, not how it should be in the anatomy book. And this builds up our neurodiversity. Also, genetically, we have forgotten the gene. I will bring it for next time. But genetically, we have 3 different genes which are responsible for the ADHD mind, for the attention, for the attention deficit, and for concentration and memory. So we definitely have this in genetically, probably in our family line. Most of our relatives might have been autistic, might have been ADHD, but neurodiversity is present. It's just an interesting thing to think about. We recently visited relatives at home, and I was surprised how probably 70% of my relatives either had ADHD, either had autism, or both at the same time. And I never looked at them from that way. We don't really go often, just once a year or so. And it was nice to understand them. It was nice to understand our space. It was nice to manage our space together, even though they don't know of it, or they don't have a diagnosis. But because myself and my family does understand neurodiversity, we were able to cater for it.